Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So the Washington Commanders just signed an edge rusher, hoping to improve this defense that absolutely got dominated against the Chicago Bears, especially against the run to a struggling run team in the Chicago Bears. We'll talk about that, studs and duds from the Commanders game against the Chicago Bears. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video, and hit that hype button as well. All those things really help out. It's free and doesn't take too much effort. So let's talk about Drake Jackson first. I think it's a good signing. Again, at this point in the season, you're not going to have a lot of guys available, and that is that is on Adam Peters for not getting the appropriate guys earlier on in the offseason, in the draft, in free agency. But at this point, you have what you have, and in terms of availability, and I think this is one of the better available players. He's also young. He's not one of the unks that we keep signing. So Drake Jackson had a major injury in 2023, missed all of the 2024 season, missed a lot of the 2023 season, I believe, as well, at least some of it. The 49ers released him in May, and drafted by Adam Peters. He was clear to play. He did fail physical, though, in May. He visited with a bunch of teams: Eagles, Ravens, and the Jets. So that's kind of some background on Drake Jackson. Also, he's still 24 years old, selected 61st overall in the 2022 draft by the 49ers while Adam Peters was there. I believe he has 6 career sacks, and we'll go ahead and pull it up right here before we get into studs and duds for the Commanders. So, his 6 career sacks, and he did have 6 sacks in his first 16 games. 3 in his rookie year with an interception, and then the next year in his first game he had 3 sacks, which is crazy. Has some TFLs, QB hits, stuff like that. It is what it is. It's a boom or bust type of player. If he doesn't work out, whatever. It's not like it's not like he's going to be way worse than some of the guys we have out there, like Jacob Martin, who I just saw a tweet. It was like he was getting handled by Rome Odunze, the receiver for the Chicago Bears. And Rome's cool, he's a good blocker, but for a DN to be getting dominated by him, Martin's going up against, Trent Williams, is a little crazy. So you need some different guys out there, and Vaughn's, we know what he is at this point. The only guy that's really balling is Dorrance Armstrong, who has 6 sacks on the year, maybe 5.5, because they for some reason gave him half a sack. I'm talking about the edge guys at least. So we'll see what Drake Jackson can bring. The expectations aren't going to be high, but he is a talented player, and you like to bring talented players in the building. And like I said, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You're not really losing much. And this was a tweet, I guess, right here. But yeah, you're not really losing much in terms of, it's not like you have a guy that's playing way better that you're going to give him, Drake Jackson snaps to instead of that guy. So, the Commanders, I think this is a good move. It is what it is at this point. It was a really bad loss yesterday against the Chicago Bears. They had to play better. They didn't. And, there's a lot of people that you can point the finger to. And, the run defense is part of it. So adding Drake Jackson, I don't know what his strengths and weaknesses are. His athleticism score is very good. He has good athleticism, so hopefully that translates. But at the end of the day, athleticism isn't everything. So we'll go ahead here, look at some of his draft profile real quick, and then we're going to get to studs and duds, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much. So 6'3", 254, and you see some of his athleticism rank, 36.5 inch vertical, and then his broad jump is 10 feet 7 inches, and there was some other stuff as well that they showed in his pro dance stuff. He did pretty well. Played at USC. You see some of his stats, some of his strengths, some of his weaknesses, and the Commanders. I think it's a good signing. But let's get into some studs and duds from the Commanders game against the Chicago Bears. We'll start off with a few studs, or it maybe not studs, but like they get a hat tip at least. Like Zach Ertz gets a hat tip, 6 catches on 6 targets, 43 yards, had a touchdown catch. Jalen Lane and Luke McCaffrey both get hat tips. Jalen Lane absolutely ran a beautiful double move and beat Tyreek Stevenson. So shout out to him there, 37-yard catch. Luke McCaffrey had one catch, he was wide open, but 33 yards, a touchdown. That gets a hat tip. It doesn't get a game ball, it gets a hat tip. And then besides that, offensively, like I don't think anyone gets like a game ball. Bill, I would say, gets a can kick for this game. He's one of the duds in this game because last week against the Chargers, he balled out and had a fumble. This week, he really didn't ball out. Like, he did have some good runs, and I don't think the run blocking was very good from the Commanders today or yesterday. But, he still averaged 3.6 yards a carry, had a crucial fumble in the earlier in the game, so that can't happen. So on offense, he's one of the duds. I'm not gonna give a dud to Jaden Daniels because yes, he was a big reason why the Commanders lost the game. His interception early on and the fumble at the end of the game, that just can't happen. But he also made some really big time plays. Had over 50 rushing yards, 211 passing yards, only had 7 incompletions, 3 touchdowns, and that 1 interception. So yes, the play by him at times wasn't good, but he had some really, really good plays. So he doesn't get a game ball, obviously, but I also don't think he's a dud from this game. Some of the plays he had were, plays that I think weren't a dud for sure. But I think he did more, good than bad for, the Commanders. Defensively, let's talk about some duds in this in this unit. So Bobby Wagner, I don't know if he gets a dub, but it's pretty close. Like he had a nice TFL, but the Zacchaeus play, that was one where if he catches, like the thing is you got to realize is like it might not show up on the stat sheet, but like you still get toasted and the guy drops it. Like, yeah, again, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but you got toasted, and that should have been a 40, 30-yard gain. And Bobby Wagner just got lucky on that play. There was another play, I believe it was Odunze who caught it, and it was Lattimore was on him, and it looked like they were playing zone, and they're supposed to pass it off to Bobby Wagner, but Wagner goes late, isn't able to cover him, and was missing some tackles. So, and the run defense wasn't that good. So I'm assuming that's partly on him because, he's one of the guys that really helps out this run defense. Trey Amos was good. I'm not going to necessarily say stud, but he had a good game. I didn't see him get targeted too much. Frankie Louvu, thought he played decent. Like he gets like a hat tip. He had, he deflected not deflected a pass. He almost intercepted one. He was in a good position there. Good coverage there by him. Had a sack. Good game overall from him. Quan Martin, dud, awful. Just terrible yesterday. I saw PFF gave him the highest grade, I believe, out of any Commander, which for me right there invalidates PFF because you allowing a 50-yard run just automatically should bring you down so much because I believe that's the play that lost the Commanders the game. Because yeah, the Jane thing that was bad, but that right there, that momentum absolutely deflated the Commanders. I believe that play was the worst play of the game. It was not only that, he also had a play. The play before he should have intercepted it first of all. And then also, what was it? He had another play, I believe it was like in the fourth quarter, where the last possession, where he just gets so fooled. He's running the complete other direction, while DeAndre Swift is already past the first down marker, like 10 yards down the field, and Quan Martin's still running the other way. I'm sure some of you guys have seen that clip on Twitter, or you saw it real time. I think I remember seeing that real time. I didn't know it was Quan Martin, but I saw someone completely running the other direction. So, Quan Martin, definitely a dud for the Commanders in yesterday's game. Real quick, a word from today's sponsor. And a huge shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring today's video. So Sleeper has a bunch of deals going on right now. The biggest one, you get a $20 free entry without a deposit. You guys can do that. Also, the one that's been going on for a while now, if you use my promo code Pedro on Sleeper, you get a 100% match up to $100. So if you put in 20, you'll get $40 total, and you can use that to win real money using picks. My picks yesterday for the game did not hit, but overall we've been on a really, really good, winning, I guess not streak anymore, but we've been doing a really good job making picks for each week. So make sure you guys check out Sleeper. Use that link in the description below. Let me know what picks you guys have for this week. There's a Thursday night game, and then obviously Sunday, the Commanders have a big game against the Dallas Cowboys. They have to. Alrighty, so back to the studs and duds, and again, a huge shout out to Sleeper. So we talked about Bobby Wagner a little bit there, and then, Quan Martin, I think, definitely gets a dud for yesterday. I would say, Jacob Martin, I don't know for sure, but I saw, some bad plays by him. Mikey Sanders still, and people are talking about it a little bit more, but not enough in my opinion, and I'm gonna hang my hat on it. I don't know if I'm using that term correctly, but I'm gonna stand on business. I think he played really poorly yesterday and has been playing poorly this season, and having him on the in the slot might not be the move. And we've talked about that throughout the offseason. I mentioned it might not be the best because if you look back at it last year, his first few games, he struggled playing in the slot. But then, moving to the outside, he started to play a little bit better. So, with him, the, tackling, that's his strength, right? And you don't expect him to absolutely bulldoze a 6'5" Cole Kmet, right? But it's it should have been like a 3-4 yard gain. The dude gets, the guy is on Cole Kmet's back. And just it's like Cole Kmet's giving him a piggyback ride, and he goes on to get 11 or 12 yards, and it gets called back because of an offensive offsides. But obviously that had no effect on Mikey Sanders still not being able to make the tackle. You also have the Rome Odunze play. Yeah, that was a good play by Rome, but still, that's a touchdown from Rome Odunze on Mikey Sanders still, and then just other stuff, not making great tackles. And what else? He missed an interception. You got to make that play. He's been making those plays to kind of mask the other things that he's been doing wrong, but he missed that one at the goal line. And if he allowed that, or the touchdown didn't get called back, it would have been a 7-point mistake, but it's still a 3-point mistake. And I'm trying to think of what else. There was just other times where you can see, even if the quarterback didn't target him, he's getting beat. So I need to see Mikey Sanders still play better because it's been really bad by him. Preston Smith, didn't see him do anything as an edge rusher, so definitely a can kick there. Jordan McGee, a can kick for the penalty on special teams, but wish he was given more of a chance on defense. He only got one defensive snap. He also did have a tackle, so I don't know, maybe not a can kick. Luke McCaffrey does get a game ball because his returning was really good as well. He also had a nice catch on RPO that got called back, I believe, because of an ineligible man downfield. That's usually what it is. And then also the play just got negated because the Bears were offsides. And then another dud, Matt Gay, 1 for 2, missed the 50-yarder. Is that an easy kick? No, but you got to be better than that, man. You got to be making those. And just this year, he has not made his 50-yarders. He's made some, but his percentage is very low. And he's 9 for 12 on kicks on the year. So inside 50, he's pretty good. But still, you're paying this guy $4 million or whatever, fully guaranteed. I forgot there was some stat where it's a super high amount of guaranteed money, and Matt Gay's not even that good, so I don't even really understand it. Next year, draft a kicker. I do not care. I guess maybe not, because Adam Peters, I don't know who was in charge of that Jake Moody pick, but clearly it didn't work out there. And I'm trying to think any more does offensively. Oh, Wiley. I'm going to say Wiley. I know he got beat for 1 sack or a big pressure, and then also he, when Bill fumbled, that's on him, but Andrew Wiley's got to fall on that too. He's got to fall on that, and I thought he did a really poor. He was right there, and the defender gets it there. So thought that was really poor by Andrew Wiley. I need to see a better effort there. And, guess what? Sam Cosmi hopefully is going to be back this week, and we don't even have to worry about Andrew Wiley. And, Andrew Wiley is not the biggest problem we have. We have bigger problems than Andrew Wiley's performance, and, he's played well for the most part. Now you get Sam Cosmi hopefully back this week against the Cowboys. That should help you out a lot, but, definitely Offensively, the turnovers were the biggest issue. And, Bill with one of them, Jaden with two, but then he also had 3 touchdowns. So not saying it completely cancels it out, but he had a lot of really good in this game. Also did have a couple really, really bad plays. And also he did have that fumble that he recovered, but that still slipped out of his hand. And, you didn't see that happen too much with the Bears. It happened once with Caleb, but I can't remember if the snap was high or anything, but it just went backwards, but he was able to recover it. So, I'll give it to Bears, the Bears and the Bears fans. Like they played better than the Commanders. Yeah, it was Commanders still probably should have won, winning 24-16 and also, winning by 2 with 3 minutes left with the ball in their territory. But guess what? They didn't. The Commanders made more mistakes than the Bears did. The Bears, were mistake-free, really, turnover-wise in this game and capitalized on mistakes. The refs also were on, I would say, the Commander side. Yeah, maybe they missed some things, against the Bears, but I think the Commanders got some really good calls for them in this game, and I can't complain about it. You can't complain about the refs if you're a Commanders fan in this game. The Bears outplayed us. They won. It really sucks because this probably, besides the Eagles games, this is one of the games I wanted to win the most, probably the second most. So it is really unfortunate that they did lose this game, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So hopefully you guys somewhat enjoyed this video, because I know, reliving this game is not the best. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.